We now move on to the Regional Vice President for Latin American Agribusiness Development Corporation, Mr. Oscar Luzuriaga.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of LAAD, Latin American Agribusiness Development Corporation, I would like to thank IICA and the OAS for the invitation to participate in this panel. I will ask for your apology, but I will start my presentation explaining a little bit of what is LAAD. It's not my intention to sell the company, but I believe that most of you guys probably don't know what do we do. So, and in addition, the idea of my presentation is more to bring you the vision of the private companies, and specifically a commercial, well, not a commercial, a bank doing business in the agricultural arena in the Latin America region for the last 40 years. So basically, the mission of our bank is to promote the economic and social development of the Latin American countries by financing different kinds of agricultural products in the different aspects of the agricultural change. The owners of, as I said at the beginning, it's a private company owned by 12 shareholders. Most of these shareholders are the founders of the company, but in the process during this year, some of these companies were merged or acquired by other companies and they became shareholders. But basically, we have 12 shareholders, which 4 of those are, 5 come from the financial side, which is basically Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, DG from Germany, Rabobank from Holland, and recently the IFC from World Bank joined LAAD a few months ago. From the agricultural side, the shareholders of our bank are basically Cargill, Monsanto, John Deere, Goodyear, Dole, Gerber, Unilever.
Let me begin by thanking you for your kind invitation
that have a lot
share in
of
the IICA-OAS
and impact
This is a timely event. In Haiti and elsewhere, underinvestment in agriculture has weakened our ability to meet the most basic
in the region. Most of these companies are family-oriented companies. We don't finance small farmers, and we don't finance the big corporations. But in Latin America, most of the agribusiness or the agri-exports come from these kind of mid-sized companies. Basically, what we do is we channel the funding that comes from different institutions, commercial banks, development financial institutions. We issue some bonds, and we channel through the Central American countries, South America, and some of the Caribbean. Very briefly, we started in 1970 as a very small bank. One of the vision of the bank started with an idea of an executive from Bank of America, and the initial support was given by the USAID, which granted the first loan for us to finance the agriculture. We established our operation in Central America. We began doing business in Guatemala, and then we moved to other Central American countries. Then we came to the 80s, and what I want to point out here is that during these 40 years, Latin America has always been in some sort of instability, politically and other different and social instability. However, we managed to deal in these different situations, and I'm going to show you later on my presentation what I'm trying to focus on. In Central America, we start facing problems in Nicaragua with the Sandinistas. In El Salvador, there were some problems with the civil war. Guatemala, a lot of security issues. So, and in addition, our customers were unable to pay the loans back because they couldn't send the payments out of the country. So we were forced to invest more money on those countries, and for every dollar we spent, we were able to take out 50 cents of those dollars. At the end of the day, I think it was good because we increased our exposure in those countries and more projects were financed. In the 80s, we moved to South America. We started operation in South America in the 80s. And in the last 2 decades, the 90s and the 21st century, has been basically the time when LAAD has really grown. We were able to reach more and more and more farmers, more and more family businesses focused on agriculture in the entire Latin America region. We moved to Brazil, we moved to Uruguay, we continue expanding in Peru, Chile, and Ecuador. The funding, as I said, was coming from more commercial banks, and more institutions were interested in what we were doing. So what I want to point here is that we started as a very small company, and so far we have granted $945 million directly to farmers. We have financed close to 2,600 projects. And the most important thing is that with our financing, we have supported the generation of 83,000 new additional jobs, which are basically rural jobs for the people that live in the rural areas. And what I want to show here is that during the entire period, our profitability, our return on equity during these 30 years has been between 9 and 11%. What I want to show here is that agriculture is a very profitable business if it's done correctly. So talking a little bit about what is the objective of this seminar.